Hello there, I'm John Tanner, Editor-in-Chief for Telecom Asia. My guest for today is Rajesh Rao. He's the Vice President of Asia Pacific and Japan for Viavi. Rajesh, thank you very much for joining us. Now, first things first, you were JDSU and now you're Viavi. So tell us about that and why the change.
Over the last 93 years, Viavi is the formation of multiple companies, or you say JDSU, right? And many companies over the years, companies like Wonderland Goldman, Acterna, the test and measurement arm for communications from Agilent, etc. So if you look at it, it's a formation of multiple companies with different product lines. And how do we bring all this culture together under a new banner and a new umbrella? And that's why we have decided that we will form this new company, bringing all our people together, our products together under one new brand name. So that's one history behind it. The second is, if you look at what the future offers to us, right? It's a $7 billion market. And we are still scratching the surface, in my opinion, because in 2G, 3G world, we talk about people-to-people communication, but now it's moving from machine to machine, people to machine, right? There's 20 billion unconnected devices, and it's all about data. How quickly can you extract the data from a wide range of data sources, right? And in the quickest, most efficient manner, in the cost-effective manner. And Viavi has the portfolio that has been accumulated over the last so many years to bring this power to the customers.
Now you work with service providers, network equipment manufacturers, data centers. What do they have in common?
It's all about data, data, data. So if you look at data centers, okay, the Amazons, the Facebooks, the Googles, etc., had these data centers back in the US. Now the use models are changed because people are downloading data ever so more frequently. There's video streaming that's coming up, financial institutions, right, banking, etc. So these require low latency network and fast throughput. And that can only be achieved by having the data centers closer to where the action is, okay? So that's a physical limitation of the network. So data centers are coming in region. Now what happens is these data centers require stringent SLAs. You move to layer 2, layer 3, where banking institutions require real low latency, or financial organizations like the stock exchange. Guess what? Low latency, who can test it? Viavi, okay? So that's one example. The other is, the amazing world of sports, okay? Hey, sports has been around, John, for so many years, right? Thousands and thousands, ever since mankind probably existed. It's always been there. But what has changed? It's the way people really engage. So you go to a sports stadium today, and you find, hey, there's a goal scored or there's a break. Immediately people flip up their smartphones, take pictures and start sending it. And data goes through the roof and networks sometimes crash, okay? So it's a very unpredictable model that exists today than ever before. So in this world, how do you provide high quality services, right? Increasing volumes of traffic and data, how do you monetize that in the fastest possible time, and becoming more agile with the data that we collect, right? And that's where the background is. Now the question you may ask is, what does it mean for Viavi, right? And what's the unique strength of Viavi? And this is really important. We believe in what we call as 3D visibility, three-dimensional visibility. Beginning to end, okay, is one such visibility, end to end, and top to bottom.
We hear a lot about customer experience management. We don't hear that much about customer experience assurance. What's the difference between the two?
So imagine this, customer experience management is all about what the customer experiences from the time he walks into a store to sign up a service, right? Request a phone, fill up the forms, who he talks to, he or she talks to, gets the phone, turns on the phone, gets the service. Using the service and ensuring the service quality is good is one component. And then finally the billing aspect of it, right? What is the experience? Now this whole experience is called customer experience management. Where we come in, especially customer experience assurance, is specifically how well is the service quality in that cycle. So it's a subset of CEM.
What are the kinds of challenges that operators are facing with customer experience assurance, and how is Viavi helping them to address those challenges?
Yeah, so it's interesting. It's again back to the point on data, John. It goes back to that. But with the advent of smartphones, the changing nature of B2B customers and B2C customers, what does it really mean in terms of data? I think it falls into two buckets as I see it. One is monetization, okay, is one such bucket. And what's happening there is with all the OTT services, that are coming about, the question is, hey, is the telco going to be a real dumb pipe? And this is common. That's a common discussion topic. I don't think so. Though the Googles and Facebooks, etc., have their OTT services, still the most unique identifier, John, is our phone number. right? Apart from our social security number, it's our phone number that really stays with us. So how do we ensure, how does the operator ensure that they are innovating and ensuring the class of service, the quality of service, the service bundles that come on the pipe, can extend their footprint in this industry, right? So that's one. And with monetization, the point is you have huge amounts of data that's flowing through the pipe, but the revenue that comes to the operator is lower and lower. For us, then the question is, from a monitoring the network standpoint, you can't afford to have the old method of monitoring where you have legacy hardware that for every bit of traffic or every gigabyte of traffic, your servers increase, right? So our approach towards this is we look at the right amount of data that is required for a particular purpose. And data is dynamic today, right? Things that are relevant now are not relevant 6 months later. A new phone launched now is not relevant 6 months later, etc., right? So one is the whole point of monetization and the architecture to support it. Our footprint cuts the hardware architecture by about 80%, okay? And virtualization is another key point that is coming out. So our solution is now virtualized ready, right? So that is the other part. The other is how do you take network and service performance, right, and combine this together? So that's unique, and a blend of that is absolutely critical.